Hello, I'm Sophia Rawls, and this is my 5MT. Spring has sprung, and it's brought with it warm weather and a number of wonderful outdoor activities. One of those activities is music festivals. From Glastonbury to Coachella, music festivals are a great way for music listeners to come together to appreciate their favorite music. But part of what makes music festivals and concerts alike so enjoyable is the connection it inspires between individuals. However, the connections formed through music that music festivals display is not just limited to those events. It can actually be seen across the world, and there's an entire subsection of academia that studies this. That is obviously ethnomusicology, or the study of music in relation to culture. Across cultures, music acts as a means of expression, yet the modern relevance of ethnomusicology has been put into question. Timothy Rice notes this in Ethnomusicology, a very short introduction, explaining it currently doesn't apply since the close-knit communities required are non-existent under mass globalization. However, Dr. Moshe Morad believes folk and modern music act interchangeably, impacting the same political and cultural aspects of life. When it came time to researching ethnomusicology, I found some gaps within the research, namely LGBT individuals are severely underrepresented. With this in mind, I look specifically at pro-LGBT musicians, specifically in Russia, since Russia's extremely anti-LGBT legislation leads to a pro-LGBT defiant response. And one of those examples is Pussy Riot. Their flamboyant use of anti-governmental, anti-religious, and pro-LGBT sentiment acted as the inspiration for my topic of inquiry and ultimately my research question, which is, how has music by pro-LGBT Russian musicians in the past decade reflected the ethnological trend of music as a form of political dissent? To answer this, a content analysis of three artists, Pussy Riot, Icepeak, and Nogus Velu, all Russian musicians who have been criminally charged or censored due to pro-LGBT sentiment in the past decade, searched for whether and how these musicians fulfilled the ethnological trend. Each of these artists had 6 songs analyzed for anti-governmental, pro-LGBT, and anti-religious language. As shown by this graph, there's a common pattern amongst all of these musicians, with the highest usage of dissent language being anti-governmental language, showcasing that yes, there is an ethnological trend at play here. From here, a Delphi study of experts in music and European history, as well as a survey of Russians and or musicians in North Carolina, hope to explain the reasoning behind the data found in the content analysis. Both ask questions regarding the content analysis, specifically the association between the data collected and the ethnomusicological trend at play. All survey participants either strongly agreed, or felt neutral about the association, with 71.4% agreeing. One participant even noted that in the context of Russia, music is a purposeful act of defiance. It's intentional in its non-compliance and defiance against the government. Within the Delphi study, expert A with a master's degree in vocal pedagogy explained, even if the aftermath of a performance provides minimal evidence, it is still apparent in the frequency of anti-government language from these musicians that Russia's culture negatively suppresses pro-LGBT values. The similarities between the responses from both experts in the field as well as the general public, in tandem with the content analysis, showcases that yes, these musicians do fulfill the etymological trend of music as a form of political dissent, but do so mainly through anti-governmental language as opposed to pro-LGBT sentiment. Still, this data remains vastly limited. Due to a lack of responses from experts in ethnomusicology and Russian studies, this led me towards more generalized responses from experts in music and European history. While a very small sample size of Russian musicians led to a lack of complexity in terms of the numerous pro-LGBT acts within Russia. Still, with a larger sample size of musicians and artists, as well as a Delphi study with experts in ethnomusicology in Russia, my points could be more comprehensive and conclusive, and could even mirror the work of that of Dobrokotov, whose study showcased that Russian revolutionaries' music acted as the catalyst for the destruction of Russia's monarchy. Even more than that, my work adds to the very limited number of LGBT studies surrounding ethnomusicology, which is obviously wonderful. So, in confirming all of this data with future research, not only will the modern relevance, but also the importance of ethnomusicology politically, religiously, or otherwise be cemented. Thank you so much, and here are my resources.